How's it going, everyone? My name is GreatMate Nate, and at this video's rate, we're going to be checking out a new survey that was sent out to closed alpha participants. It's currently very late at night. As I said in my previous video, or the previous other video, I'm quite swamped with schoolwork right now, so I'm just doing the best I can. Anyway, let's look at this Google Doc here that was sent out in an email to Starbase closed alpha testers. Starbase Designer Tutorialization Questionnaire. So basically, the devs are getting ready to implement tutorials into Starbase. Currently, we have a couple of starter ships that were placeholders, I think, under tutorial in the ship builder. But this is actually going to be some kind of actual tutorial system, as a game like Starbase really does need it. I'll always say just building your first ship without actually having an idea of what it's going to be will teach you a lot. You don't have to worry about the looks of it. Just learning how to build a ship will help you a lot in the Spaceship Designer. But of course, things could change for early access and such. Well, let's go have a look through this. This is a questionnaire for Starbase closed alpha players relating to Starbase in-game designers. As you have used the different designers at Starbase and run into questions and problems, your thoughts on what should have been taught and how are invaluable to us. Thus, we want to hear your views on them as we're planning their tutorials, like I said. Feel free to tell us any of your thoughts and ideas. There's no requirement on how much you have used the designers, as long as you have used them at all. Alright, sincerely Frozenbyte. Awesome. I have actually only used the Spaceship Designer. I've not messed with lots because A, they currently don't have any functionality unless you want like a place to hang out with friends, I guess, even though there's no furniture, and yeah, I don't really have a point for them, but I can see in the future what they're for. As well as they've gone through so many changes that it's kind of hard. They're just super expensive, lots of bugs. Yeah, so I've only used the Spaceship Designer, so let's continue. Alright, Spaceship Designer is used to modify existing ships and create new ones. Modify existing ships. We currently have no way to put ships into... Yeah, that's true, but there's no way to currently modify existing ships that are outside the editor. Unless you do it outside the editor. Oh boy. Anyway, below are some images to remind you of what the designers is. Yep. I remember. Trust me, I've spent maybe a little bit too much time around them. Cool. How much have you used the Spaceship Designer? Over 100 hours. Over 100 hours. Let me actually go and check on my Steam usage. Yeah, I have played a total of 484 hours on Starbase. Not a lot as some of the others like Okim or Quevin. Some of the more hardcore players. But I'm currently up there, and I've gotten my beginner legs in. So that's what matters. So yeah, definitely. Every time I play Starbase, I am building a ship. I don't do anything else. Not that there is to do much else outside of that right now. Do you like using the Spaceship Designer? Yeah, but it could be improved. I mean, that's always a given. How would you improve the designer's UI? Let's see. I'd say miniaturization. For example, the current way that the boxes are organized, let's give the example of the paint tool. Whenever you shrink the paint tool down, it eventually will get small enough that it gives you a scroll bar. That scroll bar itself takes up quite a bit of space. So if they could just shrink that down, yeah, because my current problem is I have all the tabs. I only have like 5 of the usual tabs out of how many they have. And already I only have about 3/4 of the screen dedicated to actually viewing my creation. Alright, how would you improve the Spaceship Designer's tools? Now, this is actually something I've been thinking at before. Outside of the Spaceship Designer, you have individual tools. You have the pipe tool, the cable tool, the bolt tool, paint tool, weld. Is there anything else? Might be, again, I'm currently running on fumes here. What I'd like to see inside the editor is the combination of tools. Currently we have a weld tool, bolt tool, auto bolt tool, and yeah, that's the main one I'm thinking of. If all of those can be combined into one tool that takes up a spot in that UI box, and then have the option between all of those simplified in the properties, I think that's the name of it, properties UI box, which gives you currently a list out of like weld all, bolt all, auto bolt on, bolt selected items. If that could all be compiled into one tool, I think that's what I would find really nice. But then of course it doesn't match up with using it outside the editor. I can see that being a problem, but then again, I definitely like the alternative. Alright, general improvements, again to the Spaceship Designer. Now, actually racking my brain for suggestions, they've done quite a good job with the designer. Yeah, making it from scratch. What else could be improved on? Oh yeah, I've got a good one. Right now we have the ability to hide and disable certain parts from the part gallery. That's what I call it, the list of all of the categories of items you have. You can either turn it on and off or disable its not really hitbox, but you're able to see parts behind it and access them behind it. The feature I'm thinking of is not if but when, individual toggles for parts. Maybe this can be a tool in your toolbox. The ability to click on a part on your ship and choose if that one specifically can be hidden or disabled. Because chances are when I'm working on a ship that has lots of decorative panels and extra details, I have plates on top of plates and lots of interchanging geometric shapes and such. So I often need that feature because they're both plates, but I need to disable the one in front of the other, and there's no way to currently do that. Alright, how did I learn to use the Spaceship Designer? Where did you get that help from? Alright, like I said earlier, the best way to learn Starbase currently is to just build a ship. Look through all the parts and to just guess for the most part. If you have no idea, that's fine. If you're currently not in closed alpha and you're quite a big fan of Starbase, then I'm assuming you've looked through and read the wiki. That's what I did on way more than one occasion. But I love to lap that stuff up, and then that's one of the reasons I got accepted. Because I myself, while you can go check the Starbase tutorial playlist, it's the reason I make them. So there you go. If you are in closed alpha, I know quite a few people that have thanked me for those, and they will keep coming as soon as I get some more time and content. How did I learn to use it? Tutorials as well. I read through the wiki. The main tutorial that I think helped me the most was called One Ship, 1 Hour by, what was it? Simulator Haven. I'll put a link to it in the description. It's a really good video. One ship, 1 hour, goes over all of the things that you need to get a basic ship flown. What would you like to know or have help with when you first started using it? I don't know if that's them being finished or me just not being able to read currently because sleep deprivation is one heck of a drug. What would I have liked to know beforehand? I came into this game knowing it was going to be about detailed spaceship building. Watched the videos, got a good impression. The impressions pretty closely matched what happened in game. So I wasn't disappointed or surprised by anything. Of course, I learned more and more, and I was one of the original 15 people invited, I think. So I've obviously been learning with every new update. We just got speakers, and that really surprised me. I didn't see that anywhere. I didn't catch that in the patch notes. I mean, the best answer I could probably give to this is the small details that are usually too small to mention in a overview video, such as your flight control unit needing to be pointed in the direction that your ship is traveling. Now that kind of seems obvious now talking about it because it has arrows pointing in a certain direction, but it's just one of those small things where if you don't inherently know that, it's going to mess up on your first ship and you have to go through and troubleshoot everything and you're like, oh boy, where do I start? So the small details like that. What would you tell new players about? I'd probably say always weld and never use intersections. I only used the 24 by 24 intersection, or I'm sorry, the 24 by 24 corner piece. I never use intersections. People used to say that they decrease stress, but after a certain update, they now increase stress. I've no clue. I personally don't use them because they're so doggone hard. They're all named, so you have to look through all of these very similarly named objects to find the specific one you need. And also the corner pieces allow you to build a much more compact ship and do some pretty cursed things, if I do say myself. Yeah, they take me too long to use, so you can call me lazy, I guess, for doing that. In what order do you think things should be taught? I think it should start just like a ship starts, from the frame up. So, of course, every person builds their ship different, but I believe, with hope that most people start with their beam frame. So I think that should be one of the first things that is introduced. Beams, how they can be orientated, how you can position them freely. Currently, we only have, 90-degree angles and 30-degree angles. The 45 beams don't count. We got beams, which would be second. I think systems, so like your generator, your thrusters, propellant, then cabling and piping, then flight control systems. So put in your computer, control unit, your seats, levers, and then after that, teach about connecting all the systems up, renaming your thrusters and such. Then finally plates, and then accessories like the navigation receivers, and then YOLO should have its own dedicated section, because it's not just for automation of ship systems, it can also be used for games if you really want to, and other mechanization. How would you prioritize teaching things in Designer? These two are the same question. You have an example of great tutorials that you think could be used as inspiration. Alright, do you have any other thoughts, ideas, comments for how the tutorial should be in the Spaceship Designer? There's a couple ways they could do this. I think the most prevalent kind would to be one that you can call up multiple times, so when you're done with it, it doesn't just evaporate off the surface of the Earth. It should be in the form of tips. So basically, kind of like, many people may not remember this, but when you get a new Discord account, there are little explanation points, and when you click on them, it gives you information about what that is. And I think that's actually a really good method. So it should have all the UI boxes laid out in a default format. Of course, the user can do whatever they want with them afterwards. But basically, I think each one should have a little blurb about it, and it can start out in, it can continually go in a prioritized manner. So like the first box that opens is the list of building blocks, and that has a little blurb about what it does. And then you can have the user build something, maybe have like a blueprint, because they're adding blueprints and such. You can see the outline of the build. Have the user build that, then move on to the next one, have the user build it, and you can have two separate things, the UI explanation and then the actual building explanation. That's how I think it should be organized. All right, everyone. There we go. Finished. I hope you enjoyed. Not much meat on today's content. That's okay, though. Yeah, you knew what you were getting when you clicked on this. I'm not sure what you expected from a Google Doc voiceover. I hope you enjoyed. I am going to go get some well-deserved sleep. And of course, make sure to tune in next time.